I've always been fascinated by how geography, history, and politics intertwine. How geopolitics is a study filled with constant shifts and patterns, and the results of that keep shaping our lives today. But what struck me most was how distant those conversations often feel for students like me. Often we study facts and dates, but rarely explore how global politics is actually playing out right now, or how it directly impacts our futures. This is exactly why I created Two Republics, to dig deeper into foreign relations and create a space where young people don't just observe global power. We analyze it, question it, and try to be a part of the conversations. This is exactly why we're creating this new series, Decoding the Relationship, where we at Two Republics break down the U.S. India partnership. Each episode connects the dots: strategy, technology, diplomacy, and everything else in between. In this first episode, we start off with one of the most critical foundations of trust between the two countries: defense and technology. Rewind to the year 2000. Just a couple years earlier, India had shocked the world with nuclear tests in 1998. The US responded with strict sanctions, halting defense sales, freezing aid, and suspending dialogue. Trust was at a historic low, and defense trade was non-existent. At the time, India was seen as an outlier, non-aligned, inward-looking, and largely isolated. The US was still closely tied to Pakistan and viewed China as more of an economic partner than a rival. But global dynamics were shifting. Slowly, both India and the US began to realize it was time to move forward and build something more durable. Today, India is the largest operator of American-made military aircraft outside of NATO. These aren't just purchases, they're signs of trust. So what changed? It wasn't just about selling weapons, it was a strategic realignment. India wanted to modernize and reduce dependence on any single supplier. Meanwhile, the United States saw a democratic partner in Asia that could help balance China's rise without a formal alliance. And when it comes to defense and technology strategy, Kriti Upadhyay, who I interviewed, has been at the forefront, bridging business policy and geopolitics to turn potential into partnership.
So we've come a really long way from zero to more than $22 billion in defense trade. And all of that happened. Why? Because there was an understanding that this is a relationship which has a lot of promise for the future, right? There are geopolitical reasons, the fact that this is a very tricky neighborhood and India is perhaps the only sane power.
And here's what stands out. The US brings advanced capabilities, whether it's the F-35 sonar systems or satellite surveillance. But India brings something equally powerful: the scale, the democratic resilience, and the ability to test out and implement solutions for over 1 billion people. This same strategic alignment applies to AI, digital infrastructure, and public innovation. Which brings us to Sanjay Purohit, a systems thinker whose work spans 20 countries. He argues that the real breakthrough in US India tech cooperation lies not just in products, but in ecosystems of shared problem solving.
And so I think that cooperation between the US and India in terms of looking at these technologies and working together to take on some of the most challenging use cases and finding ways and means of leveraging technology and their emerging capabilities to solve these challenges is phenomenal, because applying the technologies that are innovated in the US to very large-scale landscapes is only feasible by taking on certain challenges like this, because India is a country of 1.4 billion people. And so the kind of use cases it presents, whether it is in commerce, whether it is in transportation, whether it is in healthcare, whether it is in building industries, is just so massive. And any innovation powerhouse, when it meets a massive use case ecosystem, that only makes things better for both, because utilization and use of innovation to drive that change then improves the technology, but then leads to better utilization and better improvement in lives, sets off like a virtuous cycle.
This new phase of US-India ties isn't just about aid or alignment. It's about co-creating solutions for global challenges: climate, AI, and secure supply chains. Defense and digital infrastructure aren't just policy, they're built on trust and on the ability to innovate together. But as these systems scale, one question keeps coming up. How do we make sure that this technology serves people, not just governments or companies? That's where Dr. Neet Mukherjee comes in, a leading voice at ORF America and someone who helped build India's digital public infrastructure.
Sometimes technology is not the solution. Solution is somebody actually sitting down with a village mom to say, what do you want? What is it that you want from the government, or how can the government serve you better? So I think that human element with technology is something that I really hold deeply in my heart.
That's why these conversations matter. These platforms serve over 1 billion people. But even with all the sophisticated algorithms, protocols, and databases, he reminds us of something easy to forget. Behind every transaction, every verification, every policy dashboard are real people with real lives. Technology might enable skill, but it's only meaningful if it reflects the needs, choices, and dignity of the people it's meant to serve. So when we talk about U.S. India relations, it's easy to focus on the headlines, defense deals, summit photos, and joint statements. But underneath it all, this partnership is quietly building something far more complex. And far more important are systems of trust, systems of skill, and systems that shape the everyday lives of people. This is exactly why I wanted to create Decoding the Relationship, because these conversations aren't just for policymakers. They're for people like us. The choices being made today will define the world we inherit tomorrow. Thank you for watching.